Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Financial Planner. I hope this finds you well, fit, healthy, and of course now into week 2 of isolation for most of us. I appreciate that's a challenge. It certainly is one for us as well, and I guess we're all just having to adapt with social distancing and dealing with people in this format and that lack of, social contact. Strange, but it is certainly improving me in certain ways. My technology skills are improving. And certainly as I'm sharing with you now, you can see that my skills with my children are improving. I am now getting very good at phonics, very good at reading and writing in the way that a 4.5-year-old learns. And Jemima specifically told me this week that I would get better with practice, which of course as a father I take to heart, and I will continue to improve where possible. Unfortunately, Austin is taking his PE classes very seriously, but he is favouring the round ball rather than the oval one, which is slightly worrying as a family based on our background of rugby. But with time and as a 2.5-year-old, I'm hoping to drill that out of him, and we'll be using the rest of the time in isolation to ensure that happens. So joking aside, I'm hoping everyone's okay. I'm trying to bring some humour to the situation because, of course, coronavirus is still very much a part to play in everybody's thought process. I hope you're finding a way through it in terms of your own mental well-being at home, whether that's joining in with Jamie Oliver and using all the ingredients you've got in your larder to make tea and coming up with some strange concoctions, or like some of my clients, learning a new language, doing gym classes online, or whatever you're finding to fill that time and get a new skill or hobby. I wish you all the best with it, and there's no doubt we're still going to come out of this the other end doing things certainly differently and with some things which we never thought we'd have done before. So I guess there is always some positiveness to come out of adversity. What I wanted to do, and thank you again for all the huge amounts of positive feedback we've had from these. It's been really, really appreciated, and I really mean that, because sometimes you sit here hoping you're doing the right thing for people and trying to create content which people find useful, and you've really reassured us that that is the case. So thank you for the people who took time to do that. We're going to continue on that vein of thought. We're going to try not to obsess with coronavirus. I think you're probably getting drip fed that 24/7 at home. I'm not sure you need us to do that as well. It's clearly very relevant for what we're talking about. But over the next kind of few videos, certainly myself and Emma are going to try and turn that a little bit into some planning ideas, some tax efficiency ideas, the new budget, some of the software we can now use to forecast people forward for retirement, or impact of coronavirus on market drops in terms of when they might be able to retire, or whether they can afford school fees, or whatever you're trying to plan in the future. We really can talk you through some of the things we can now do to assist in this ever-evolving world that we find ourselves in. So I hope you're finding these, like I say, continuing to be useful, and that's where we're going to go over the next couple of weeks. I don't want to avoid today not talking about the situation, so I'm just going to touch base on one thing, a couple of things, that I've been asked and I thought was relevant for this video this week. The first you can see on screen is more related to people's questions around the shape of the recovery. So people received the information last week well and agree with the concept that we've all lived through this kind of scenario before in terms of market volatility. But of course, in the press, on the radio, on the television, a lot of commentary about the shape of the recovery. And when we talk about the shape, normally people are talking about letters, believe it or not. And pretty much I've heard most alphabet letters now in terms of will it be an L-shaped recovery, a W-shaped recovery, a V-shaped recovery, and so on and so on. And of course, no one really knows. So these are all opinions. And of course, we will only really know a couple of years from now, I guess, in terms of the speed of which it happens and who got it right. I still believe that ultimately in the longer term the market comes round. It will, of course, but in terms of the shape and people estimating what that looks like, I think that's difficult to forecast. But what I'm showing you on screen is created by Bloomberg this week, and it's more linked to the question of how long has it taken previously to come out of certain issues that we touched on last week. And the first one you can see here is 1987 and Black Monday. The market dropped 36% in a 2-month period. So, of course, it was very, very steep in its decline. And what you can see is that for a full recovery from that, It took 22 months from the bottom of the market, and this is related to America, by the way. Again, in a similar fashion, we're talking about 9/11 attacks. The market dropped 38%, and of course the World Trade Centers and the impact of that, people not wanting to fly, the fear of America's retribution and what they were going to do next, and the implications of all of the concerns around that. So the market dropped 38%, and it took 48 months to return from the bottom of that area. And then a 54% drop in 2007, 2008, where the market dropped, and again took a 48-month period to bounce back to where it went. So again, if that gives you a little bit more understanding, which my information last week didn't necessarily give you the exact time scale of full recovery, that's only American orientated. Remember, you are invested globally, so that's only taking America as a snapshot. But again, giving that feel for if recovery and history repeats itself, whatever shape it comes, an L or a V, the timescale needed to know whether you're investing again for the right timescale for recovery, I think it gives you a feel there of potentially how long that could take. And that again just reinforces what I mentioned last week in terms of keeping enough cash for, I guess, those kind of time periods, and then making sure that you have more confidence in sitting tight for the recovery with the invested money you have, in addition to that, to give you that return on the loss of investment. Now, equally for new money, and we are inundated with people again putting money in the market at the minute, and I guess some of the time that's back to emotion again of people now seeing opportunity. If the market's down, even if it goes a little bit further, does it really matter if there's already significant value to come back? And I guess that's where more experienced people see that opportunity, and that of course is true. And again, using that same figures again there, if it took 48 months to feel a recovery, is that still a better solution when you look at, for example, a 0.1% bank account and you sitting on money on deposit that you know you're not going to use in the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years? And again, that's how we get to balance, and that's how you at home have got to understand whether you've got the right money in the right boxes for the right time scale. So again, I thought that was useful. One of the last things I'm going to cover today, because I'm conscious my video last week was very long and covered so many things, is just to do with how you can get access to understanding what you're currently invested in. So underneath this video, there is a secondary video this week which guides you through what I'm going to show you on screen, and that's how you can access fund fact sheets for each of the fund managers that we have currently got your portfolio invested in. And these are really, really good in the fact that they give you fund manager commentary, so you're hearing straight from the horse's mouth, as it were, and you're equally on the reverse side, as you see it on screen, at the top, can see the top 10 holdings that they're invested in. Now, the reason why I like this and what you can see now is this is the International Equity Fund, a Sydney-based fund house that are 75% invested in North America. You can see what type of companies are invested in. And again, I think for most clients, this is what you've been asking for. You can see here that they've got a shareholding in Alphabet, for example, in Starbucks, in Apple. And this is reaffirming that you are in a certain type of company, big, strong, liquid companies that have got good, strong track records, that in January were very good companies that fund managers perceived had a good long-term future, that had the right products and services to move with the times, and therefore, like I stressed last week, haven't become bad companies overnight. These are still effectively the right places for you to be invested. But I think what's going to be really useful for those who this interests, you can go into each fund fact sheet for each fund manager you have, follow the guide, and as a secondary example on screen now, UK General and Progressive Fund, you can now see the difference in the type of companies that fund is invested in. And of course, these fund managers are all geographically split around the world, all have different styles and approaches and ethical stances, etc. And that's what gives balance and diversification. So again, that was just a snippet for me to share with you. Follow the video below if that's useful. Welcome questions again for you to come back and ask further questions about that. But I hope that's again another nice snippet to help you with your thought process and your thinking. Please keep sending those questions in. More than happy to field them. More than happy to set up individual phone calls, so don't feel alone, or that you want to simply just use somebody as a sounding board. That is more than welcome at any point in time. Like I stress, we're here with you. We are all going through this journey together. We'll come out stronger the other side. Stay safe. Look after your loved ones. I'll report back on how well I've done with my teaching skills this time next week. And all the very best for now.